Hello, beautiful three sisters. I'm Samiel Carolina, and I am back to our courageous conversations. I'm so sorry that I couldn't be with you guys last week. I was sick. My guest was also sick. So today, let me set up this. Okay, here we go. Today we have a very beautiful guest, as all of our guests actually. So I want to wait a little bit and see, who's here. Lisa is watching. Wonderful. Okay, welcome Lisa. So yes, I want to welcome Lisa to our courageous conversation today. Hi Susanna, nice seeing you here. Where are you joining us from, darling Susanna? And everyone, those who are joining us, please let us know where you are joining us from so we can visualize and feel this tapestry of three sisters that we are creating every time we come here live with you. So let me introduce you, Lisa. Lisa Estabrook is a human being and mother, artist, graphic designer, earth lover, and plant whisperer. The creation of the Soul Flower Plant Spirit Oracle deck was the result of a 2-year-long personal journey of self-discovery and healing. Its self-publication in the summer of 2016 launched Soulflower, Lisa's heart-based work intended to support and inspire connection with ourselves and our planet through the power of art and flowers. Lisa believed that it is the wisdom of our heart and our ability to listen to it and to honor the wisdom of our heart that will heal. I invite you in. Let me see. We are adding Lisa, and please, everyone, meet her here.
Hello.
Hi, darling.
Hello.
How are you?
From Maine, and happy spring. I am well. I am very well. How are you?
I'm good, enjoying spring as well here in Andalusia and Spain. Lisa, thank you so much for joining our courageous conversations tonight, or today for you.
Today, yes, I'm feeling courageous.
Lisa, you are a plant whisperer.
I am. I am. It took me a long time to believe that, but I am.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. And before we go there and we share what does that mean, how is that the heart of your work and your relationship with three sisters? What does it mean to be a three sister, and how it connects with this beautiful work that you are birthing?
Well, the Tree Sister mission, feminine, nature-based leadership. And when I was first introduced to Tree Sisters, when I was first listening to Claire's story, I felt an immediate heart connection to what she was sharing about the earth, about how we are being called forth to show up, to speak our truth, and to be courageous. And that this spoke, to my understanding that each and every one of us has the power to heal this earth. And she was so, she just spoke directly to that heart message that I was feeling. And I knew that it was an organization I wanted to be connected to. And not just because of the work you're doing planting trees, but the work you're doing to embody the divine feminine in each and every one of us. And and I really truly believe that is exactly the way that we are going to heal this planet. So it's not just, there's so many wonderful nonprofits that are out there doing amazing work, but this particular group is tackling it from a very different way, a very different place. Doing the work, but also doing the work and the inner work that is necessary to transform this planet. So that's why I'm a tree sister. That's why my work is connected with the tree sisters, and why I feel that I need to speak, for the earth. So.
Thank you. So you are, a monthly donator, and also your art carries the energy that water and supports the plantation of trees, right?
Right. Yes, I am a monthly donor for myself and as an individual, but I also use my work as a platform for raising money for Tree Sisters as well. It feels like it's important, and the earth is my muse, it's my teacher, the flowers are my teachers and my guides, and it's it's about reciprocity, and it's about co-creation, and giving back, as Claire says, and I'm totally dedicated to it with every ounce of my being, and that was a journey in itself as well. So yeah.
Yeah, can you share with us a little bit about that journey, as we were talking in private the other day about what does it take? It takes a lot of courage to surrender ourselves to that call, I would say. I don't know, I think call is an overused, but yeah, it's like
For sure,
surrendering to that thing that we know we have inside and wants to be expressed and explore. How was that journey for you?
Yeah, I mean, that is really the heart-based leadership, heart-based living. And, I was raised, and many of us are, I think we're transitioning now to more heart-based work, but we were all raised head-based, mentally based. And so my personal journey, I have suffered from chronic headaches for most of my life, and I can pin it to back to my teens and my early 20s, where it really got very bad. And that is where I can say that's where I started living guided by my head, partially, and guided by external guidance, my teachers, my parents, everyone else, well-meaning and loving guidance. It wasn't manipulative, but there was a story that we have to do this X, Y, and Z to be successful, to be happy people, to live fulfilling lives, and what my heart was telling me to do was not in alignment with what everyone outside of me was telling me to do. And so I spent 30 years following the wisdom of external experts. And I want to say that in quotations, because there are many. And when I hit my 40s and my early 40s, I realized how out of alignment I was. And at that point, I think that's, that was my call. That was my call to action, because, I was on my knees, essentially, with the physical symptoms of my headache, and I couldn't ignore it anymore. And so, our bodies as earth, as they contain, they're telling us, they're talking to us all the time. And I started to listen. And it's, so this is, the journey never ends, right?
Yes.
It's not like I can say, oh yeah, and it was wonderful, and I went through step A, B, and C,
No,
and now I'm heart light on my head, and my headaches are finished, and it's all roses. It's not, but but I have learned so much about surrendering control, of my life to my heart, which is connected to the higher realms, to my higher self, to divine wisdom, whatever you want to say, and to the earth herself, and to try to integrate that into my everyday life and into my work and into my parenting and my self-care. It's like it's the yeah, just all the levels of understanding. It can't come from here. It's bigger than I can even articulate with you. And it really is about trust and surrender, and then having the courage to listen to the wisdom that your heart is telling you, that your body is telling you, and that nature is teaching us. And so I hope that is a little bit of the start of that question. But each of us is called at a different time, I think. And it was my time. It was my time to start that, and it's been a slow process, extricating myself from the world that I was raised in, and it's rewriting the story, and there's so much joy in it for me now. There's so much joy, and even when you have a headache, when you have this stuff, it's not like we're victims, and I'm not a victim anymore. There's no more self-pity in that. And then as far as it relates to Tree Sisters, for me, it's courageous to step out and become a monthly donor for Tree Sisters, and to work in that way, rather than the kind of the end of year tax write-off call to be a part of something bigger. And the way that Tree Sisters nurtures the relationship with all their donors through their monthly moon calls and all those kinds of things, that is nurturing that heart-based feminine guidance that is that I'm sharing through my work and living now. And so I don't know if that sort of
Beautiful.
makes sense. But and it's every day, even with the business, I'm finding that I have to find new ways, or create new ways of doing this work. And my degree, funnily enough, was marketing. It wasn't art, and it was graphic design and marketing, because that was marketable. That was gonna give me a successful life, and it didn't. It just gave me 30 years of headaches is what it gave me. But I'm grateful for that. I wouldn't be able to do the work I'm doing now if I hadn't had that experience. So
Absolutely.
it's all it's all nourishment in the soil, for each
Always.
of us, the stories of our own lives, right? I mean, and so, as every day, I'm being asked, to open my heart further, to be more and more courageous, to express this truth, and and share it with others, and so and it's exciting. It's exciting and scary, and I think those are the same feelings in your body too.
Hell
right?
yes, it's super scary.
Yes, so
No, but
scary.
it's I love what you're saying, because you are asking if it's making sense. But I do believe that each one of our journeys is so intimate and is so personal, and that
Yes.
maybe the initiation of life itself might look similar, mine as well. The first one was at 33 years old, then it was at 40 as well, a massive turnaround in my life. And I also had to surrender to, okay, this is my life now, this is my vision, this is what wants to be created. Similar to you, I'm also marketing and design as a background now. Soul Alchemist, nothing to do
Interesting.
with it. It's all
Interesting.
going into the soil and serving the purpose, and
Right.
I wanted to ask you, in each one of our journeys, there is, when we start that process of surrendering, there is this descent, yes, to lay down their personalities, the expectations, the the frozen part of us, the relationships, the familiar places, the mind, the ego, the emotional addictions to ways of being, and then coming up from that descent into the light with new ideas, with like, okay, now I want to follow this heart, this vision, and slowly, what would it be for you, the number one thing to overcome in that descent? What was the biggest thing for you?
Well, I think it's the letting go of control.
And how does control looked for you back then?
Control for me looks like, what's the next best step in my career? What is the next, how can I work with what I have or what I see coming to, best, have the best result. So you're always analyzing, well, if I make this move, how is that going to play out? And I'm quite good at that. I'm quite good at saying, well, if I do A, B and C is going to happen. And if I do B, and so looking at all that is really controlling, I was able to roll with what was, so if my plan wasn't going according to plan, I was able to just quickly get into this mind frame of reformulating my next step, and reworking it. But ultimately it's about, you're in control. You're like, I'm completely trying to control the situation. And a big part of that for me was around finances as well, around money and feeling, that I had to control that, so that I could be safe.
Yes.
In my world. And that's kind of a mixed message you're sending out to the universe. Like, you're sending out this message of, I trust you, sorta, but I need to mentally make this map of how I'm going to do things. And what was happening in my life, my descent was like, okay, well, now we're going to take this away from you. And now we're going to take this away from you. And this, and we're going to, and your headaches are going to magnify and feel worse. And, so your health is going to be going. And, it was just like this, it was, I have 3 daughters, and I realized, in each of those things, I needed to model something different for them. And I knew that I needed to do something more for them. So that was the piece. And I often hear like, oh yeah, your children are your teachers, or the earth is our teachers. But it was that piece where I'm like, I don't want this to be my children's story. I don't want, and I had a very strong, I would call it my Cinderella archetype. I had the difficult stepmother. I had, the siblings that had everything and I didn't. So the big self-pity and and I think this is, where the details of the story are different for everybody's journey, right? Everybody's details are different and situations are different, but the underlying archetype or the underlying victim piece was it was the biggest thing that I needed to let go of and let go, and I get off track a little bit, but I wanted to circle back around and just talk about that. Yeah, letting go of that control was also letting go of that victim part of my story, and all those little elements, all those little ingredients, were I think what helped me turn my life around in my early 40s. And so
beautiful.
But
so once you went through that initiation, the understanding, the awareness,
yes.
okay,
Yes.
I'm going to do this. on the other side, what's that gift? Because there is always a gift. Yeah, these blocks are our medicine. What did you find on the other side? What's the quality that now you have? Maybe it's in your relationship with money. Maybe it's in how you plan or how you receive your creative ideas and you allow them to unfold. What is it that is now present thanks to that?
Well, trust, of course,
Yeah.
trust, and finding my voice, speaking my truth, uh, and not being scared in the sense that I was before, like that everything that I have was going to be taken away from me, because now I realize that everything I have that is of value to me is really within. And I don't know, I mean, I think the money piece is always still there. We still have needs. We have things that we need to. We're in a physical world. We have to eat. We have to make dinner, and we have to plan. Where we got to be at certain times, all that kind of stuff. But I think it's given me freedom. It's the upside has been this enormous freedom that I am fully supported every step of the way when I am aligned with my heart. When I allow myself to just let go and be carried along with this sort of, it's a water image that comes to mind, because that's really what it was. And I think for the longest time I was treading water, and you're trying to stay afloat, and then the descent is just, for me, was just that kind of overwhelm and drowning in it all. And now it's just kind of being carried along by the currents is the best visualization I can give you. And really trusting in my body's wisdom, my heart's wisdom, and not feeling like I'm so good at intuiting, and like an empath skill of knowing what other people want from me, and what I need to say in order to be accepted and loved and welcomed, and all those kinds of things, and realizing how disempowering that was. How disempowering that is for all of us to be underneath that influence. And so now I am, it's more in the present moment, able to take a breath and speak my truth from a place of really deep love for myself as Earth, for myself, and and I have had nothing but just wonderful, wonderful feedback and response. And within my, there's relationships within my family that are healing because of it. Because I'm not subscribing to those same stories anymore. I'm speaking my truth, and it's just like it's healing on so many levels. So many levels. And so there's the relationships that are improving. There's my work, which feels so resonant and so wonderful, and then there's just my relationship with the earth and with the plants, and there's so much joy. There's so much joy in what I'm doing now. I can't imagine how I managed to stay in that darkness for so long, or to tolerate it, and I think, well, I can, because it's, our culture is like, it's like, okay, let's just take a pill and numb it, and all this kind of, it's numbing, and you have to feel it, like you said, you have to feel it, you have to be able to drown, you have to in it and feel it, and so
beautiful. Yeah. I love also the image that you are sharing with your children, right? I think as women, our sacred responsibility to show up for our healing, not because we are broken, but because if there is one legacy that we are going to leave, is making that healing or allowing that healing process to happen. So, so our children also change. Yes, it's changing
Yes.
the
Or
DNA
not
of
even.
our humanity. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or just like maintaining what they came in with, because oh my
Oh
goodness,
yeah,
the
for
three
sure.
girls, they came in like so powerful
Of course.
individuals. And
Yes.
and it's not easy to parent them, but but my parenting story was not manipulative, but like controlling, you got to do this in order to be happy. And
Mm-hmm.
they taught me, they're like, no, actually, I'm not doing that. That's not, and it wasn't personal. I took it personally for a while, it's like,
Of course, we do
what
that
are you
until we
telling me?
understand that each parent has its own level of consciousness, and we are all doing the best we can with the level of consciousness we have.
Absolutely.
So, but until we
Absolutely.
get there and
Absolutely.
understand that, it's like,
Yeah. Yeah, so I like to think that my kids are in their teens, and they're probably where I was in my late 30s, in their teen years right now, and so maybe they can pass that on and pass that on, and we're constantly working and evolving through that, but it's definitely more joy filled now than it was before, trying to make everything perfect, that perfectionism story that so many of us as women have. And that piece, I hope I haven't passed on. I hope I haven't passed that one on. I hope that one is evolved into it to an extent. I can see pieces
alchemized.
of it in my oldest. Yes, alchemized is a beautiful word. My oldest, for sure, I can see that she's carried some of that residue, and she'll have to work through that. But the other two, I feel like the perfectionism thing is evolving, alchemizing. So,
Beautiful, beautiful.
yeah.
There is another element that probably for you was also important. I think we touched on this in our private conversation, but is what could you share with us the role of women in your life as you were transitioning, surrendering, opening, doubting, and then
Yeah.
opening more, and then doubting more, and then opening more? You found support in women. Was that natural for you? Did you have to learn what is sisterhood and how to embody sisterhood in a way
Oh
that is not
gosh.
only a nice
Yes.
online concept, but is something that we live every day?
Yes, and so many of us feel so disconnected from other women and so isolated, and I was certainly one of those. And it's not that I don't have strong women friendships, but I'm not, personally, I was never one of those. I don't have besties. I don't have best friends. I don't, I have dear friends that have been there for a long time, but we don't always communicate a lot. It's that kind of, and no one close by to me. So I did feel a real sense of loneliness and isolation in what I was doing. And I actually did sort of intend, I need to connect with other women. I need to connect with other women. And I went out to a workshop, a circle workshop, at a local healing center. And I met a woman who ran circles. And long story short, she invited me to join their circle of women. And it has been one of the most nurturing experiences of my life to be able to sit in circle with other women who are not trying to fix me. And that was the biggest thing. A lot of times we sit with our girlfriends and you tell them what's bothering you, and and I'm guilty as charged. There's this desire to fix everything, to make it better, to fix it right away. Whereas in this circle, that the rule was you're not supposed to speak. You're listening. You're in a listening role, and that's a very passive. You're holding space for the other woman, and that was a huge awakening for me to experience that for myself. And I know that that is a big part of my work moving forward as well, to facilitate in some way, obviously connected to the flowers and to the trees. And I know, I think I see that movement through Tree Sisters, of course, with their groves that they're organizing, but I think it's organically cropping up everywhere. Women are just crying out for that kind of connection to other women, to be able to listen. And it's so important, because when we're just sitting there listening, not actively trying to fix or to offer advice. We're just listening, and every single one of the women's stories, every single time without fail, touches a part of myself that I understand to be me too. And and their stories are different details, but it's the same. And you feel so empowered, and that's the word I think that I was maybe searching for earlier. The biggest plus, the biggest gift that I've received is that empowerment through connecting with other women, connecting with myself, connecting with the earth, and really embodying that divine feminine energy that is available in that kind of situation. Those are the qualities, right? So so the circles in my life and I've been a part of several now, but there's one that's continual, is I think critical for our wellness and our health, as a whole, and our mental, spiritual, and and I think that people are understanding a more of a holistic way of being in the world, that it can't be just medical, it just can't be just seeing mental or whatever. It has to be all this, and the circle is such a beautiful like even visual of this holistic circle, this, and no one more important than the other, and all that good stuff. So it's just such a gift. It's such a gift. So I wish that for everyone. I wish that for all women, and I wish that for men too, because I think that but I do feel that women feel safe in circle with only other women. At this point, we're not sort of ready yet, I don't think, many of us, for that that energy, that dynamic to be touched. But I think it's the divine feminine obviously is present in all beings, all life, plants everywhere. It is earth. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
Beautiful. I had, when you were sharing this image, as that it was for me this way when I started to join and then later on facilitating women's circles and temples, moving into my day as one woman with
Yes.
every woman on the street becomes you, whatever she is in the circle. No, but you imagine like all that wisdom and all that stories, as you were saying, they are very unique and personal, but still all one. Like we
Yes,
are all
absolutely.
one big woman on this planet, whatever
Exactly.
is
And
our story and lineage. And yeah, it's just so
it
empowering.
is. Yes, and the more we listen, the more stories we hear. The more we hear, the more we can recognize that, I think. And it is. It is
Beautiful.
amazing. It is beautiful. It is beautiful.
And this brings me to the question. Can you share with us, what is a plant whisperer?
Plant whisperer is trusting that different. Okay, so plants communicate. Plants have consciousness. Trees have consciousness. It's just a different consciousness than what we understand. Their life force is the same as ours. It comes from the same source. They just communicate in a different way. And so I think that many people are plant whisperers. They are it means to be in relation with your flowers, with your plants, with the earth and with nature. And so originally I would just be, talking to my plants out in the garden, and I realized, as I'm watering, as I'm tending, as I'm moving, the conversation is, like you would speak to a small child who's nonverbal. And you would, oh, you're not happy there. I can see, oh, what do you, how can I help? And over the years, you're really come to know that plant in the same way that you come to know a human being. It's no different. The amount of energy and time you gave to that relationship, the deeper and deeper your understanding of their needs, and the reciprocity is that, oh my goodness, they make you feel so good too. They have a way of communicating that is just coming into your awareness. Thoughts and things come into your awareness, and you might not put two and two together right at the time, but it's like having that conversation with a nonverbal child. You know what they're saying to you. You know what they're saying to you. So I feel like everyone is a plant whisperer, and I'm working right now with Rose, and Rose is one of the highest vibrations of love that I have found on this planet, and everyone knows that intuitively. What do we give for Valentine's Day if we celebrate Valentine's? It is a celebration of love, and so we know that. We know it in our bones, and we know how plants make us feel good and are part of our everyday, all of our ceremonies, all that stuff. So anyway, a plant whisperer to me is just someone that is paying attention, simply paying attention and noticing these beings who have so much, that give us so much, trees are the wise ones, and the meditative calm beings, and the plants are vital, and I mean they're all vital, but it's just
a different presence. Yeah.
It's a different presence. And so I say to everyone, talk to your plants, don't whisper, talk to your plants, and pay attention to what messages you're receiving back. Pay attention to your thoughts and feelings and your emotions and sensations in your body and all of that, because it's all relevant. It's all how they're communicating, and how we can elevate our consciousness and understand, what the messages are. But I think that they are masterful, and they show up when we need them. And
and they reflect back to us as well where we are at, right? If a plant is dying,
absolutely.
if it plants, if there are bad energies, the flower will, respond in one way or in another. They're always protecting, communicating. Yeah.
Exactly.
Alchemizing for us.
Animal. Yes, like animals too, it's like the very same. So, it's just that we can anthropomorphize, is the word, animals much easier than we can the flowers and the plants, but I think that, it's a communication. It's not a one-way thing, for sure. It's not a one-way thing. And it's a beautiful journey, again, of trust. Trusting that what you are thinking and receiving is communication, and that's a big part. That was a big part for me, because I can't say that. People are going to think I'm crazy, people, and then again, as you really embrace your own heart's truth and your own wisdom, you kind of don't care anymore, right? It's like, this is my truth, and this is what I'm gonna say, and take it or leave it.
Yeah.
But I hope most people,
I think we are getting more and more there. Yes.
We are, and the scientific community is starting to support this too, which is very helpful. Very, very helpful. Yes, so it's and not everything can be explained and logically, but I tell people, hey, how do you know that germs are there? You don't see them, you can't see them, but you know that they're there, right? And so that your flowers are, it's the same way, that they have this intelligence, and just because you can't see it or taste it or feel, anyway, it's about trust. It's trust.
Yeah, and this really bring us back to what we always say in Three Sisters is what we care, you know, when we feel love and care and respect, then we will, you know, protect that.
Yes.
That's why it's
Yes.
so important that we come back to feeling, right? Because if we are
Yes.
numb, of course we are never going to protect or,
Right.
you know, or
Right.
nourish something that is really important, that truly matters. We are only
Yes.
scratching the surface of life while, you know,
Yes.
while we are not really connecting, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
this, all this work that you are doing, it's about that. It's about coming to the heart and what is it, you know, that really matters to you, and how to move into that place to care more, you know.
Yes. And I think it's when we're so disempowered around our own bodies and all this stuff. I mean,
Yes.
you know, it's like the understanding that we are all connected is kind of like was the first layer, and then the understanding that, oh, you know what, actually I am earth, I am that flower,
We
I
are.
am all that, right? And now that I understand that, how can I possibly harm the flower? But how can I possibly eat that junk food that's making me sick, you know, because I wouldn't give that to my dog, you know, I won't take
Yeah.
care of my animals. So it's all that love, that deep understanding that we are earth, that we are nature, and as
Absolutely.
well as obviously being connected. Same, one woman, one woman.
One woman, yeah, one woman and one
Yes.
planet, one whole body, actually.
Yes, exactly,
That's
exactly. One body.
I remember the grandmothers in Guatemala in 2010. The first time I went to visit them, they told me this. You know, it's like the state that the Earth is right now is, you know, the way the Westerns are completely disconnected from their body and from their senses and their emotions, you know, and their mind, you know, so polluted. So of course, all the elements on our planet are polluted or polluting. Yes, but
Right.
we don't see and we don't feel and we don't experience that connection. But once that is experienced, there is no way back.
There is no way back. There is no way back. And so, yeah, through my work, definitely am trying to bring that awareness,
Yeah.
to bring that awareness out into the world. And it's, you know, there's so many of us doing this work, and we all have different voices. I think we're all saying the same thing, different ways, and so that that message can be received by as many people as possible. And I feel so deeply honored to be able to do that, you know, to be able to share that and do that. And yeah, it's, you know, and I feel like the trees and the plants and all of it, they're all like, yay, you know, keep going, keep doing it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yes.
Totally feel you. And yeah. So what would be an invitation from you to women who want to be part of Three Sisters? Whatever is it that they want to join the inner journey, or to donate, or to feel part of it through their businesses. But what would be your invitation? Why someone might consider joining and actually joining?
Um, that's a good question. I think we could circle around to the beginning of our conversation, and that it's a completely different way to give, and to give to yourself at the same time. And so it's not the process I had, you know, becoming a water carrier and giving a portion of my work, all of that, that was all a process of giving to myself and understanding that I am enough, and that I have enough to share. And but I think it was giving to the Tree Sisters for their work, but also understanding that I was getting so much more than I was giving, you know, and their support and their femversity and their groves and everything that they're doing. It is a systemic healing, not a superficial band-aid. And, you know, that model of supporting your donors, supporting the donors is new and nurturing and so important. So I would invite everyone to become a tree sister, whether they're donating a minimal amount or
Yeah.
whatever. It's really not, it's not about the money. It's about that kind of that giving to yourself, because you are giving to the earth, you are giving to yourself. And when you start that little process, that little seed is planted, and then that whole awareness just grows from that and just blossoms from that, and is so beautifully supported by the tree sisters resources and mission and their new moon calls and their full moon calls and all of it. It's just it's vast, and there's something for everybody. There's something for everybody, every woman, and there's something for all of us, so that we can all, and to use the metaphor of a flower, it's like a little seed, and we're all going to bloom within this thing, and so that would be my invitation, to think of it as giving to yourself. If instead of that latte, give. This is better self-care. It's self-care on so many levels, and that was my experience too. Because there was resistance in the beginning, but that was my experience. I'm giving to myself. So.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Lisa.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, and thoroughly enjoyed my journey with Tree Sisters so far. And I can only envision it blooming further and further, and hoping that everything that we do, every seed that we plant, is going to ripple out and heal this world. Heal this world. So I know you're doing it. You're doing it.
Yes, we are all doing it. All our part.
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for your time, your dedication, your creativity, and your courage.
It's a deep honor, and yes, and I'm going to honor my own courage. I asked Hawthorn, which is for me the flower that represents courage, although rose as well, to be with us here today, and to everyone who's watching, just to embrace your heart, and like leave the little voices behind in the head, try to ignore them and ignore the voices and pay attention to the voices of our hearts, because they cannot lead us astray. They cannot. So anyway, thank you so much, Samiel.
Beautiful. Thank you, Lisa, and thank you everyone who joined us here live, and those who will watch the replay. Let us know in the comments below what you think, what you sense, what you feel, and ask Lisa or me questions, and we will be here. Thank you so much, Lisa. Have a nice afternoon.
Thank you. Yes,
Bye.
you too. Bye-bye.
Bye, darling. And bye, everyone. Thank you.